for you, what kinds of what kinds of things are we going to be talking about? What kinds of things are do we really want to get across and get out there to the world?
Well, I think we live and we lead, as you know, very interesting lives. And I think we've been able to, over the past couple of years, have a lot of opportunities given to us in different places that we've created ourselves, and that we've been lucky to know the right people for in business, in friendships, and everything. And we have a set of principles and a set of beliefs and values and ways that we live that have worked really well for us. And we are, I would say, very much so main characters and not NPCs.
It's a good way to put it.
And so anybody can live that, anybody can lead that. And really, the whole point of all of this, in my opinion, is we talk about so much shit. You and I do so much shit. Um, but one, we need a way to document all this. And then two, I think that this could definitely help and benefit some people for sure. And so I would just like to take what we know, take what we're experiencing, disseminate
A
it.
lot.
Yeah, disseminate it in a way that's easily digestible for other people, and the right people will tune in, and it might be helpful for people that think like us or that are on a journey trying to start off somewhere.
I completely agree. And on that note, what is a modern protagonist? I mean, that's the namesake of, really what this is and what we're about. What would you say a modern protagonist is?
I think you have to start off with what it's not before you define what it is. So in popular media, everybody kind of knows what an NPC is. And it's people that live their lives on autopilot, so to speak. So they have just, they go about their daily routines, they go about everyday life, and everything is almost scripted. And there's not a whole lot of critical thinking, there's not a whole lot of agency. And I think that the difference with what we do and what a modern protagonist is and should do is somebody who really is a main character in their own lives. So they do several things, and there are several factors which differentiate them, in my opinion. One is that they're very giving. I think that's the most important thing, and that's not a sexy thing to say. That's not something that is very attractive for people. Um, but they're very giving. They give to everybody around them, to people that they don't know, their friends, their family, acts of love, acts of service, all of that. But the second thing is that they're also very ambitious, goal oriented. They have a vision of where they want to go. And it's not just pie in the sky and esoteric. They know that they can materialize and manifest anything that they want to achieve. And there's a great quote about this. I forget who it's from, but every goal that you want, every goal that you have in mind or any desire is given to you from a higher source. And when it's given to you, there's also the keys for its fulfillment as well. So you wouldn't be given an ambition or a goal if you didn't have the keys to achieve it. So a modern protagonist, what they the view that they take for their goals and the things that they want to get out of life is that they're actually going to have them, and it's actually going to happen. They're not just out there. They can be physically tangible and materialized right now. That's the second thing. And then the third thing is, well, there's many things, but if I had to put a third stamp on it, they're very spiritual. So they're not dogmatic. They're not necessarily religious. They don't ascribe to a rigid belief system necessarily when it comes to spirituality, but they have a connection with a higher source, a universe, God, however you want to put it. And they also know that they are that higher source as well. They're a reflection of that. So they're very spiritual. And I want to get into that point, but I think that that'll just come along as we talk about this a little bit more. But from your perspective, what's a modern protagonist?
I mean, I completely agree with everything you just said. And what I want to add is that in the modern day, especially younger people, us, Gen Z, millennials, even, and even with this newest generation, Gen Alpha, I know they're still kids, but they all kind of suffer from the same thing, which is they get bombarded continuously, not just by dopamine enhancing things, but things in which distract them from a higher purpose. Like you said, something spiritual, something that they can actually use to benefit the world and by proxy, giving to the world, right? Giving to people that they care about, giving to their friends, giving to people that they don't even necessarily like. I think what really being a modern protagonist is somebody, like you said, who has agency, somebody who, despite having the ability, especially in our comfortable Western, 21st century world where you can just sit and doom scroll all day, you can work an easy job, you can, drink, do drugs, hang out with, you know, friends who just want to do all the same thing, and you can sit around and do nothing. A modern protagonist is a main character, somebody who can go out and really penetrate the world, you know what I mean? And somebody who can actually take the tools and the abundance that they have around them, spiritually align with what they want, and actually push out to get what they want.
Mhm.
And that is truly up to the individual. But we really want to emphasize something that we both said. It's really about giving because the more you give to the world, the more you get. And when you solve problems for people, when you give love, when you create beauty in the world, you truly start to feel a lot more fulfilled, feel a lot more purpose driven. And that really gives individuals a meaning to their lives that most people don't really have, that they substitute all of the things that I described earlier for. And a couple points that I want to add on that. When we talk about main character NPCs, I know it's, you know, kind of cringy, but it's more of an analogy. What an NPC is and what really is the antithesis to a modern protagonist is not only the things that I just said, but it's somebody who actually neglects all of the things that a modern protagonist has that Matt laid out: spirituality, being able to give, somebody who really takes control of their lives. And you almost have a responsibility to become a modern protagonist because you have been given this beautiful gift that is called life, and it's really your obligation to give back. Would you add anything to what a modern protagonist isn't?
I would double down on something you said there. It was my first point as well. Um, Giving. So there's a belief system and there's a value system that I think is incredible that people can adopt right away. It's called enlightened self-interest. Enlightened self-interest is giving as much as possible to everybody around you in any different form or fashion without a want for something in reciprocation from that. So giving without wanting to get. And it's very important because reality almost works like a riddle sometimes. Um, when you give, things then come back to you. It all then gets reciprocated back to you, but you have to give without trying to receive. So I think that that's a system that has worked super well for us. It's worked incredibly well for us. And it just makes you a better person. It makes reality better. It makes everything easier for people. So enlightened self-interest, I think, is the first thing that there's several books around this as well. The Go-Giver is a great one. That is where I would say is the first fulcrum of a modern protagonist for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't know if you want to touch on Think and Grow Rich. That's another really good one. If you want
Mhm.
to touch on that real quick.
Think and Grow Rich is a great book. That's the one that got me started on my journey when it came to all of this. When it came to just, we do a lot of things in business. We do a lot of things in the community. We do a lot of things, politics, a lot of shit like that. And I think what started me on the path of self growth and actualization was Think and Grow Rich. I remember it got recommended to me my senior year of high school. I was 17. And there's keys in there that I think every executive must have read that book. Everybody that's huge in politics uses that as almost like a Bible. And if I had to just disseminate it into a little actionable bite, it's that your mind controls reality. So, reality, everything that we know of as life, is made up of the same formless substance or substance as your thoughts are. So, your thoughts are super powerful. Whatever you think about, you attract and you materialize in everyday physical reality. You don't even realize it. If you live life on autopilot and if you live life with a lot of anxieties and if you live life even in a bad mood or generally angry, you'll attract and materialize situations to yourself that further reciprocate that feeling to you. So you will, if you're generally anxious, you're going to create situations that will continue to give you anxiety and you don't even realize it. You think that, oh no, reality is being tough on me. So that's why I'm anxious or that's why I'm angry. But the fact of the matter is that if you are angry, you are just going to materialize situations that further necessitate that feeling. And in the opposite vein, if you're a happy person, if you're feeling abundant, if you're feeling lucky, if you know that you're lucky, I like saying that I'm so lucky. You will continue to get situations that reflect that to you. So things that will make you continue to feel lucky. So your thoughts are super important. You need to be able to take, think complete accountability of them and really, really be very, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be very intentional about how you think because your thoughts are everything and your emotions. So Think and Grow Rich started me on that journey. That's the first thing. You have to be very intentional in how you think, how you speak, what you say, because you get what it is that you think about. That is so true.
And I think that leads into something that we wanted to touch on earlier. What is manifestation? And I think it would also be really valuable if you could almost explain also how you do it practically as well.
What would be your take on that? I want to hear from you on that. How would you explain manifestation?
Manifestation is something that can sound really pie in the sky to a lot of people unless you've actually tried it. And it's really interesting because, as Matt was saying, everything is connected. Your thoughts are made of the same form as reality. And I don't want to get super esoteric here, but like it says in Think and Grow Rich, you become what you think about. Everything is energy. Nothing is truly physical, right? Everything is made up of particles, energy, and your thoughts are the same thing. And so the way ideas are brought, well, manifest into reality is through thoughts. And you do this every day. If you want to manifest yourself picking up a drink, you think it and you pick it up. Now, that can be applied to a much grander and way more strategic scale if you actually apply it correctly. And the key secret to that is one, aligning it with something purposeful, something that you think about a lot, something that actually means something to you, something that you feel the higher power, God, the universe will reward you for, and something that truly benefits the world. And practically how I would go about that is you need to one, continuously think about it, pray for it, meditate on it, everything internally and spiritually that you know is right for it. And two, bring it manifest into this world as much as possible. So the best way to go about that, and I'm sure Matt will touch on it more, is writing things down, creating, a mood board, starting to learn, reading books on the thing you want to come to pass, and actually moving yourself, orienting your life in a way that will bring that thing forward. If you want to add to that.
Yeah. One note that I would say is we're not peddling bullshit here. So we're not trying to sell anybody anything. We're not in an MLM or any kind of scheme like that. We're not. If anything, I think we just want to give people hope. And so, and not even hope, like actionable steps that they can actually take away and do something with that will affect their lives. So one key thing that we do that has changed life immensely and that anybody can do and everybody should do is write down your goals. And that sounds super cliche until you realize how important it is. So when you write down your goals and when you write them in a notebook, whatever, it's your first imprint onto physical and tangible reality, the thoughts that you've been thinking and conceiving and putting them down into the world. And it makes it so much more likely that they're going to happen and come to pass when you can put pen to paper and imprint what you've been thinking into the physical world. And there's a certain way that writing down goals that works incredibly well. So instead of saying, I want to have a Porsche or I want to have this new job, I want to have this, that, and the other. One thing that works really well is being super specific. So hyper specific on what it is that you want. Write down the color, the brand, the experience in as much detail as you possibly can. But the second thing, which I think is even more important, is when you write down your goals, write them down as if you already have them right now and you've already achieved them. So not I want to have or I will get a promotion. I will get a new customer. Write down the way that I like to do it is I'm so grateful that I have this new job. Blank. I'm so grateful that I have this. I'm so grateful that we went here. You have to write it down as if it's already physically happened in the present right now. And I like to say I'm grateful for it because gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions that you could have because if you're grateful for things, the universe will continue to give you things to be grateful for. It will continue to reflect that and then give you more of that so that you can further enhance that energy. So write down your goals. And when you write them down as if you've already achieved them and they've come to pass. If you want to know more about this, there's a great book called The Miracle Club, which is, for me, what really clicked when it came to writing down things. And he lays out, the author, exactly what I just described, writing things down in the present tense as if you've already achieved them.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And also feeling grateful for them after the fact.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure this is a lot of information. I'm sure it's pretty overwhelming. If somebody was to watch this and take away something other than manifestation, if they wanted to become a modern protagonist and take some actionable steps, what are some things they could wake up and do tomorrow?
Writing down the goals is the big thing. So think about what it is that you want. Get your best notebook, your best one. Don't use your notes app. Put whatever it is that you want. It could be, and think big. That's a big secret is thinking big. You have to think big. So whatever it is that seems pie in the sky out there, write down the biggest, most ambitious goal that you have as if you've already currently achieved it, even if it feels like it's maybe unattainable right now. Go down the list from big out there all the way to things that you could get tomorrow, essentially, or things that could be achievable within the next few weeks or months or even in the next year. So start big and then whittle down until you get into the present, what you can get right now. It's the first thing. Second thing is I'm huge on reading. I reading changed everything for me. I think it's changed everything for you. You have to read. I love nonfiction books, so I love business books. I love spirituality books, philosophy, psychology, marketing, sales, finance. I love all of that, but you have to read. I like doing a book a week. If you don't read a whole lot, it could be kind of, just, I try to do a book every 2 weeks. I would recommend starting off with Think and Grow Rich if you're interested in manifestation. And we can get into, I think it would be good to give a recommended book every single episode that we do. But I would say to start off with Think and Grow Rich, and then Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza is also a great one. I have the cover of the book actually tattooed right here. This is the Caduceus, you can't really see it, by from Hermes. But Becoming Supernatural and Think and Grow Rich, get your hands on those, digest them, and then start putting pen to paper. Put down what it is that you want in your best notebook ASAP. For me, that's how I think that people can and should get started right now. What about you?
I would add physicality, making sure that you stay in shape, making sure that, and when I say physicality, it should be exercise or any form of sculpting the body that you want that makes you feel you are best able to take on the world and truly stand out. You know what I mean? So that could be if you want to feel, if you're in a field where you need to feel intimidating, or if you're in a field that you need to look really good, or if you feel that you need to become healthier to fully optimize, your mental state, your physical state, whatever. Physicality is one thing. The second thing that I would do is make sure you spend a lot of time, like we said earlier, giving. What does that look like in the day to day? Doing nice things and truly showing your love for people in any type of way. That means making sacrifices for people, spending your time with them, telling them you appreciate them, give them your love, helping them with the project, anything that builds relationships with people and gets you right with the universe, gets you right with God. The last thing I would say is doing things after you've manifested your goals and after you've started orienting your life around trying to achieve them. Start trying to attack the different blockers. Start being brave in your life and start doing the things that scare you. For example, if, and I'm sure you can speak to this, Matt wanted an internship in college with author of a very famous book. I'll let him talk about it. But he physically went to a location, even though it was terrifying. And after a lot of persistence and finally, got the internship that he wanted, if you want to speak to that.
There's this author, his name is Oren Clough. He wrote this book that blew up on Wall Street and in Silicon Valley called Pitch Anything. Pitch Anything. It's all about the fundamentals of pitching in a different modality. So instead of just how everybody thinks about pitching, where you have a problem and then you go with the solution and then the whole wraparound like that, this method was based on neuroscience and was very compelling. So in college, we started our school's business incubator, which was called the Innovation Hub. And one of our professors, he's a venture capitalist himself, he recommended that we read the book, Pitch Anything. And got my hands on it. Well, serendipitously, my brother bought it for me the next week, which was a great sign. Fell in love with it. I thought that it was insane. And then also found out about what it is that he does as I was trying to figure out what it is that I want to do after college. He gets paid, Oren Clough gets paid money to raise capital for companies. So if he can raise a ton of capital for a seed round or a pre-seed or an A, a B, a C, doesn't matter. He can get a chunk off of that. So I thought that that was very compelling. Reached out to him for about 3 months with the shittiest outreach you could think of on IG, on LinkedIn, on email, everything. Heard nothing. I found out in his book that he had an office in Beverly Hills, he had an office in Puerto Rico, and then he also had an office in Carlsbad. Carlsbad was just 15 minutes away from where we were living at the time. And he also said in his second book that he was having his house built in Rancho Santa Fe. This was in the middle of the pandemic. So this was in 2021. So I figured, okay, it's the middle of the pandemic. He just had his house built in San Diego. He's probably operating out of the office in Carlsbad on a day to day. So since I didn't hear anything from him, I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw on my best suit and pull up to the office every single day until I can catch him. And I didn't even really know what I want. I know for sure that I wanted an internship and I wanted to learn from him, but I figured that the best way to go about it would be to say that, I'm starting my school's business incubator. Would love if you could be one of the judges on our next Shark Tank pitch competition for students, and get an interview with him. I pull up on a Monday. The place is completely blacked out windows, the office in Carlsbad, nothing denoting that intersection capital or pitch anything, or that there was even a business there. The only thing that really verified it for me was that there were all of these crazy cars outside of it. So there was a huge truck, looked like a monster truck. There was a G-Wagon that had a Scarface, what do you call those? The
A wrap?
no, on to block out sun.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. You know what we're talking about.
Yes, he had a Scarface thing on the G-Wagon. And then there were a couple other cars out there as well. So I was like, there must be something here. Pull up on a Monday, he's not there. There are no staff, which was weird. Not there. Come again on a Tuesday, not there. So then I pull up on a Wednesday, and then finally the doors kind of creaked open just a little bit. My heart goes, like, holy shit, somebody's here. I go and I open the door and I hear him podcasting in the other room, all loud. There's nobody in there though. There's no receptionists. And so I didn't want to interrupt his podcast. So I just go to my car and I'm like, okay, I'll wait 30 minutes and then see if I can catch him between clips and between recording. Finally come back in, open the door, and he hears that and he goes, hello, from the other room. I was like, hi, is Oren here? Knowing it was Oren. Bullshit. Was nervous. He was like, he said, no, not really. Why? And I said, hey, I'm a student at Cal State San Marcos down the street. I'm putting together our school's business accelerator. Would love if I could get you on our next Shark Tank as a judge. Then he was like, I don't work like this. I don't take walk-ins like this. You have to get in touch with my assistant. You got to reach out to us. That's the way to do things. Completely shuts me down. I'm like, oh shit, I fumbled the bag. But then I walk out, go to my car, grab my notebook, write down, I think, a very just detailed and nice note to him, putting my name, putting my phone number, putting my email, and then saying, I just ask, well, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain from this, us having a conversation. I just ask that you take the chance on me that other people have taken on you in the past. Put it on his G-Wagon, right underneath the window wiper. That same day, like 3 hours later, I get an email from his assistant saying, good news. It seems that your persistence has finally paid off. Oren would like to get 15 minutes with you next Thursday at 8 a.m. Can you do that? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Get on the call with him. He says, I'm looking for, some more youth in the office, somebody to help with marketing. We just need some more young energy in here. Do you know anybody that could help with that? Fucking course I do. That's me. You kidding me? Um, and then the rest was history. Next week, I'm at his office. That following week, uh, running his LinkedIn, running all his marketing and his copy, doing all the office bitch work, so to speak, organizing everything, like unpaid, cleaning the toilets, all that. And then it finally ended up resulting in me helping run his sales. And so selling tickets for his events where he would have, and this was in college, selling tickets to CEOs and investors for these huge capital raise conferences and pitching conferences, and then ending up getting into investment banking, selling deals for actual capital raises themselves. And it was amazing. That was completely manifested. That was completely just me thinking that this could work, right? It would be interesting to learn from him. It'd be interesting to have a season of my life where I have this mentor and can absorb everything that he knows while also providing value and help grow his brand. And from there, everything just led us to where we are now, which we'll get into in another episode. But yeah, so you have to not only visualize what it is that you want, see yourself as emotionally, see yourself as having it right now, see the picture and feel it emotionally as if you have it right now. But you also have to take the steps in reality to actually make these things come to pass, no matter how small those steps may seem, because the universe will do its job, hold its end of the bargain, as long as you hold up yours and actually try to make shit happen through your own efforts. That is what I would say is the best takeaway that I could give people. Go know what it is that you want, put it down on paper, feel it as if you already have it right now, write it down, and then go out and start making the steps to make the shit come to pass, because it will.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Jump in with 2 feet. I think that story is the essence of what a modern protagonist is. And I think that really helped people kind of understand everything they need to know. So thank you for that.
No, thank you. Oh, yeah. Next episode, we'll be getting into some more uh, detailed shit for sure. We're going to pick a very interesting topic, a very interesting subject, and it'll be live next week.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.